Well, hello and welcome back to Tactical Tuesday with Johnny Tiger. Today's date is July 1st. Happy Canada Day to everybody in Canada. Um, Today I'm here to give you a quick look and do a little bit of a demonstration of the cold steel training kukri knife. This is a very cheap, low-end, easy-to-get tool. You can get it for about 15 bucks. And the whole knife is about 19 inches long, very weighty in the hand. The blade is about 13 inches long, and it has a very functional, very wide, textured handle, so it will not glide in your hand. It also has a finger guard uh, to protect your hand and to trap other opponent's blade, or for you to choke up on it by hooking your forefinger over the guard like this. It offers you quite a few different hold options, such as the forward hammer grip, which is very standard for kukri, the uh, finger over the guard grip, the commando grip, the extended grip by grabbing the pommel of the blade and swinging it this way, give you that extra reach. Right? Like a very standard kukri, it is very heavy in the front, a big curving belly in the front, gets skinnier closer to the handle. In many ways, the design of a kukri knife is like a miniature gladius from the Roman gladiator time. And you know, if the gladiators were using something designed like this, then obviously that the design is good for killing people, right? The kukri is a standard knife invented by the Nepal people around Nepal, the Gurkha military force. They use uh, this. It's like their trademark. I have trained briefly with kukri. It's not one of my specialties. I have always been more toward daggers and uh, uh, the uh, other knives, such as the karambit and uh, various like tantos and bowie knife. Like kukri has always been kind of been low my radar, because for me a kukri is a little bit too forward heavy, too aggressive. I know that's kind of weird when I say it. Too aggressive. I am an aggressive guy. It should be perfect for me, but for some reason, it just always seemed like a, I don't know. It just seemed like a really crude tool. Now, with that said, I will not deny that it is a really well made tool. Like for what it's made for, you can chop off tree, chop off arm, chop off head. Like this is just such a powerful knife that you have to admire it for its efficiency in what it's designed to do, which is to hack things off. This training model is made with the polypropylene, and it is kind of floppy. It's not rigid, so when you stab, it will bend, and after a while, you'll find that it will probably warp, uh, but it will be very hard to break it. And also, because it is so floppy, during training, this will give you some fun stuff to do, like smacking the crap out of your opponent. Yeah, that hurts, but it's not going to do damage. Now, speaking of damage, I want to show you guys that. Well, first, let me give you guys a comparison of this one and the real one, real kukri. I got a real kukri here. This is I believe this is a survivor model, or the HK survivor model. Uh, Very low budget line kukri, but you can see that trademark skinny near the handle and then thick towards the front, giving that hammer efficiency, and the finger guard finger guard. Okay, very similar. These two are very similar. Now the cold steel model is obviously a little bit bigger, and the HK Survivor model, this one has a glass breaker near the end and the pommel. So design-wise, it's very similar but different. Now, I'm going to walk you guys through a little bit of a technique demonstration and talk about the benefit of a kukri knife in a fighting scenario. So stay tuned and we'll be back. So first, let me quickly say this. Kukri is not my specialty. I trained with it a little bit, but it's not my preferred blade type. As some of you know, I prefer the much more close-up and devious karambit. But with that said, we're going to run through some techniques that personally I found have worked really, really good with using the kukri knife. Obviously, if you have trained in Eskrima or Kali, then most of your stick technique will translate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? The 10 very basic stick technique, all that will translate to a kukri knife. I don't have two of these here, but I'm going to grab the real one. I'm going to keep it in a sheath just so there's no accident. But I want to illustrate something that you got to watch out for. Because a lot of time when you do straight sword or straight dagger, or even with a combat knife, if you do dual wield and you do your stick technique, one, okay, a lot of that will translate okay. With a kukri knife, there is a forward momentum being pulled by the belly of the knife because this knife is really forward heavy. So you got to keep that in mind when you do your slash, because see how that's going to come really close to my own elbow if I lose control of that. So there's always that tendency that this one to jump out of your hand if you swing hard. So if you do two kukri at the same time, you got to be very careful because this will have a tendency to come towards your other hand if you're not careful. So in addition to your standard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Kali or Eskrima stick technique, with the kukri, you can also practice some flows and hand switching with your swings, such as cut, cut, switch, cut, cut, switch, cut. Okay, so I'm using the momentum of the blade to cut, cut, and then switch with the momentum into commando grip. Once I switch to commando grip, I throw my elbow forward, cut, switching again to the extended grip, grabbing onto the butt end of the knife for that final hack, right? So the cut, cut, switch, and hack, right? So there's 4 attacks. I don't do this super fast because I'm a little bit out of practice with this stuff, but that gives you an idea. Like if you learn to work and throw that momentum, then this thing can work with you. You just have to make sure that you don't do silly stuff like ow, right? Because this will pull the knife forward and outward when you swing big. So sometimes if you're going through martial arts sparring or stuff like that, it is easy to overswing with the kukri, and it will hit yourself on the leg. Personally, one of my favorite style of fighting with the kukri is to use it as forearm elbow guard. The curvature of the blade makes this so much better than a straight blade would. So when I hold it in reverse commando grip and then in guard, laying around my forearm, this kind of fits into this curvature on my forearm nicely. And you can see there's about 5 inches of the blade coming out from where my elbow would be. This allows me to employ my Muay Thai technique with the blade as an extension of my forearm, right? And I can still punch with this form. And if I need to, I can quickly switch into a different grip. Now, one thing I want to illustrate with the kukri versus a standard dagger is when you block an incoming attack with a regular straight knife, no matter whether it's a combat knife or a dagger, when the attack comes and you block, right, there's a lot of force being placed on your wrist. This is why a lot of time in knife fighting and dagger fighting drills, you will see dagger getting cut out of the hand like that, because there's so much stress on your wrist when you catch that dagger. With the kukri, this is not an issue. Right? With the kukri, when you block incoming attack, you can see in slow motion there's a glide along the curvature of the kukri when it catches the attack. So what this means is, rather than being a straight stop motion, which means a lot of force come right back onto your wrist, it's like applying a slow brake, right? It's like a very slow brake, so not all the force go onto your wrist all at the same time. Okay, that is the very cool part about a kukri knife, is when you block with this, the curvature will help you divert a lot of that incoming force. The second part about why this is a very cool weapon is, I just realized I didn't have my lapel microphone on, so hopefully you can hear me better. Anyway, so the second thing I want to show you guys about what's really cool about blocking with a kukri is when you block straight knife to straight knife like this two dagger, okay? If you pivot and try to cut your opponent's hand, they can cut your hand too. Okay, so if you pivot, you slash their hand, most likely just skin damage. Okay, they slash your hand, skin damage. You try to stab them, they try to stab you. Okay, so when you lock blade with a dagger, you need some extra finesse into guiding them to the side and then cut their shoulder or stab into their body. It's a little bit more complicated. Now, the Gurkha knew what they were doing. The kukri is a much more brutal and efficient tool. When you clash blade with the kukri, watch what happens. You pivot, drag back, okay? The curvature and the belly of the blade means, yes, maybe my knuckle will get cut by that dagger. Maybe I will get some skin damage, But when I pivot and drag back, this will cut off the hand. Okay, this will cut off the finger, cut off the hand. Okay, there's way more damage on my opponent's hand than his straight knife going to do to my hand. Okay, now if my opponent attempt to guide me to the side and try to limit my movement, then again, very simple tool the Kukri is. If we lock blade and they try to guide me to the side, all I have to do is disengage and hack down. This has such a vicious short range hacking power. The moment I disengage, I can hack off their hand. Okay, very, very efficient tool. So as we can see, the Kukri has a lot of great things in a combative situation. One thing I don't like about Kukris is that, like Karambit, it's made for combat. And so, like, honestly, how many of us is really going to be cutting down trees or cutting off head? I hope not very many. So when you have a Kukri, it's good for like destroying whatever you want to swing it at. But if you need something to like open a box or open envelope or cut cord, this is too much of a knife for that kind of purpose. This is kind of why personally I don't really like Kukri that much because it's a great fighting knife, but other than fighting, it's really not that good for anything else unless your job is like clearing brush in the jungle. Um, but before I leave you, I want to show you guys why you need to be very careful with this training Kukri, uh, even more so than any other training knife that you'll be sparring with and training with. I mean, if you're doing a solo, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you're doing it against a partner, then please be mindful of how much force this training Kukri can generate. The Kukri is a knife that's designed to pack a lot of punch when you swing it. And even the training model is like that. Okay, I'm going to illustrate this by showing you guys. Here is a rebreakable tile. Let me adjust the camera up a little bit higher so I don't hit the camera. Okay, this is a rebreakable tile we use for board breaking and for punching and kicking. And just so you guys know, this is not like wimpy. Okay, okay, this is pretty tough stuff. Right, you got to hit it very solidly for it to break. If I take the regular cold steel training dagger, medieval dagger, see, when I hit it, all it does is bounce. Okay, it doesn't it doesn't have a very good punch. Let me grab another cold steel. This is a cold steel training tanto. It's even smaller. Yeah, it's just going to bounce. It's not like so. The dagger and the tanto both don't pack a very good punch, which makes sense because honestly, tanto and daggers they're made for thrusting and stabbing through armors in the chink in the armor. They're not made for hacking, right? So when you're sparring with these, yeah, it's going to hurt when you smack, when you cut each other, when you hack each other. It's going to hurt. With the dagger, yeah, ow, yeah, it hurts a lot. But most likely, it's just going to be bruises. Okay, not the case with the Kukri. Be very careful with this. One hack, okay, roofing tile, bye bye. And that wasn't even like me rearing up and really hard. That was like a casual whipping of the wrist. That's how much force even this training model is going to generate. Like honestly, this thing hits so hard that I wouldn't be surprised that you can actually use this as a self-defense implement in a pinch. Obviously, in a self-defense situation, the real thing would be much better. But if you just have that training model, yeah, I can think a couple of good whack would break the bones of whoever is trying to attack you. No problem. So be very careful when you train with a partner using the training kukri from cold steel because it does pack quite a punch.